Hey guys, this is my new Gorilla Cart, or should I say probably Eileen's Gorilla Cart. You want to learn all about it? Stick around, we're going to assemble it and do some tests and give you a little demonstration. Stay tuned. So I have the full-size double-wheel Jackson, I think it's 8 or 9 cubic foot wheelbarrow, but it's a little much for Eileen to handle. So this is the smallest cart Gorilla Cart makes, the dump cart. This is a 4 cubic foot. To give you an idea about cubic foot and how these things work, if you call Landscape Supply and say, hey, I need a yard of mulch, that's 27 cubic feet. So you get it dumped in your driveway. Now with my big hunk and heavy wheelbarrow, I could get that into the backyard and into the beds in only 4.5, 5 loads if I don't really overload the wheelbarrow. But this guy will take 7. But this guy wheels like nothing. It can carry the weight easily. It has over 90-degree turn angles and can dump with one finger. And can dump all the way over. Now the big heavy hunk of wheelbarrow has one big downfall. It can carry a lot and it can go a lot of places, but it has what's called a dump foot. So where the 2 legs go forward, there's a little metal bar above in front of the wheel that you dig into the ground to dump it. Well, I'm very tall, so when I hold those handles up, that dump leg is just skimming the ground. So any little bumps or humps, I jam up, the wheelbarrow wants to tip over. You don't have that with this. This is literally an all-terrain vehicle. So we're going to load some stone in here. We're going to tow it around over some of these bumps and hills and up the railroad ties to see how easily it pulls fully loaded, and then demonstrate dumping underneath the deck. So first things first, let's get this thing built. It goes together very quickly with some great engineering.
Their little hardware kit here even lists step numbers for the instructions. So these are their bolts for step 1, step 2, and so on. I've never seen that, and I've put together probably hundreds of things in my life. It's pretty neat, the way that they design this with the almost like a square recessed head, so that one person can put it together. You don't have to have somebody holding a wrench here while you're tightening it underneath. And then the fact, little things like this, it's broken down step by step. It's little things like this that make a world of difference to people, especially people who maybe not be as mechanically inclined as others, that can really make an item be user-friendly. So again, with this kind of recessed design, you insert the bolts where they gotta be. The heads recess to be flush, and they stay. They won't, even if I'm bumping the other side, they don't want to fall out. So that's some good engineering. So with the 4 bolts inserted from the underside, and again, they stay. They're not going anywhere. It's really great design. This is the dump hinge portion. So the threaded peg goes up here where these 4 holes are. And then the hinge section goes back here. It's kind of hard to mess up because there's only 4 holes that line up to the frame. And then from there, you just got to put on your washers and nuts and tighten everything down. Now the nuts are the nylon lock nut, so you don't need a lock washer. As you tighten it down, it cuts through that nylon, and that prevents anything from backing out. All right, we have all of our washers and nuts prepped. You need a 1/2-inch wrench or socket. I have a 1/2-inch driver in my little impact wrench here, which is going to make this quick and easy. Done. Okay, step 2, we have 2 long bolts, 2 short bolts. So this is the tilting bracket here with the axle for the wheels. The short bolts are going to go on the outside because it's just a flat piece. The longer bolts are going to go on the end because you have this inch thick frame you have to get through. Same as before, nuts and washers positioned. Just come on in and zip them down. For step 3, I need it both hands. So this is your front steer axle. It's basically the plate, the nut, a washer, and the axle. When you're tightening this nut, tighten it down and check that you can still move it freely. If it's hard to move, loosen it a hair. Again, there's the nylon lock ring in there. Wherever you leave this tight-wise, it's never going to move. So you want it to where you can easily move it, but there's no play. So the next step are the tires. The tires just slip onto the axles like that. You have a washer that goes over it and the locking hitch pin. So you put this down through the hole and then flip this over, and that locks it so it can't slide out. Be mindful when you're putting your tires on that your air valves are facing out. Otherwise, you're going to have some difficulty filling your tires up with air. All right, step 5 is going to be mounting the release handle to the wagon. Now, the release handle does have the recessed heads. And here we have the small hex head with the nut. So 4 bolts, and that's done. All right, the final step is just to take this axle bolt and mount the handle to the carriage, and this project is done.
Time for the extreme testing demonstration. Get. Ta-da!
So guys, there you have it. I think it went smoothly. I think it rolled easily. There was some areas where it looked like I was having some difficulty. Obviously, I don't have my full facilities right now. And those areas where you saw me stopping or looked like I was struggling, it was more about I was getting a little wobbly. I had to stop, regain my footing, and continue to pull. Definitely had some weight to it. I definitely had that probably, loaded more than Eileen ever would. But it went over the sand and through the rut and up onto the railroad tie. I was even able to push it backwards under the deck. Again, the dumping, I had to kind of get better footing to get the dumping done, but it did dump pretty easily even with the weight, and you can dump it all the way over. I gotta say, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the way it's built. I'm impressed with the price point, the engineering behind it, the ease of use. I really do like it. Probably will be more of an Eileen thing than me. Like I said, I do have the big honkin' Jackson wheelbarrow right there. Now that's kind of on its way out, to be honest. The actual basin of the barrow itself has cracked. The handles where they go up to the dump foot are starting to rot. Like the little metal bar across the front just sort of rattles and flops. When that does go, I probably won't get into another one of these because Gorilla, I'll post a picture of it here. Gorilla Carts makes a wonderful little dump barrow, and it's 7 cubic feet, not quite as big as this,
but there is no front dump foot. There's nothing to get caught on those bumps and humps. And anybody who's ever had a good head of steam with a wheelbarrow and then you get jammed up into the ground, you know, it just takes everything out of you. It's a very odd experience. And so yeah, I give it thumbs up. And I think when Eileen's using it to kind of put stuff over to the compost pile or move the chicken when she's cleaning out the chicken coop, if she's doing that and taking it to the compost bin, I think it's be very, very helpful for her. And even for me, I mean, there may be times where, as my big hands in the frame, there may be times where I find myself using it in my, you know, if I just aren't feeling strong on any given day and I need to move some stuff, some bags of soil or something, it is a great option. They do make a couple of sizes. That's the smallest at 4 cubic foot, like I said. The other standard size is 7, but they do have a 9, and then they have 2 like Super Duty ones that can hold like 1,200 pounds, and they're even bigger than that. I don't know, you probably have to get them from Gorilla, whereas I know the 4 is readily available at any big box store, and I think I've seen the 7 at a Lowe's, but I'm not positive. They also carry the wheelbarrow I was speaking of. But that's it. I give it thumbs up. I think it worked great the little bit we used it. As we move through summer here and it starts to get more use, if need be, I'll give you an update if there's any issues with the hardware or any of the build or anything. I certainly will give you an honest update about it, but this has not been sponsored. I paid my own money for this, and this is part of, you know, what we did for years. But little gem back there, reviewing stuff, hacks, mods, upgrades, and this is going to probably continue in our little backyard here. So stay tuned, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content. And from today, you'll be seeing this video. It's Sunday, the 12th. It's actually the birthday. I mentioned about the statue before, the twin boys. Today is the first twins' actually birthday. It would have been 17 today, Aaron. And then on the 16th was Ian. He kind of hung out for a little bit and before he passed. So yeah, they would have been 17 today. So happy birthday, boys. All right, guys, stay tuned. We will see you in the next one.